rule system, which means we're hacking it as we go. Let's not dwell. And usual disclaimers about racism and the use of certain language, which we won't be engaging in, apply. If you've watched any of the others, you've heard me rattle on about it.
Let's be specific since we're streaming. So disclaimers is this is a story about racism. However, we're not going to be using that racist language as players, right?
Yeah. We are not. And
Oh,
we've tried very hard to avoid it today. No, it's good. But in my professional life, I'm currently doing a whole stack of work on Aboriginal data sovereignty, so I'm all about it this year. Okay, which is fascinating, by the way. If anyone's ever bored, I suggest to you reading up about Aboriginal data sovereignty and what it means is quite a fascinating exercise. Now, when last we saw Intrepid Heroes, they had driven the Baron in Blue away by, in effect, getting the assistance of Pops, or at least someone resembling Pops, to turn up and drive him away. You have spent the last 6 months mostly living your own lives. You've also acquired a new member of the Knights of the Oribus in Sam Smith. It would probably be good noting that they were mostly pre-gens, but going just quickly around, can we just introduce our characters in just 1 minute, starting with you, John.
Okay. I'm John Arnsworth. I am now 20, the youngest of the group. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently writing my book about rural America, and I want to keep my people safe to using the safest routes and the safest hotel or restaurant to visit during their travel.
Sam. Sorry. Sam.
I'm Sam Smith, Samuel Smith. I am 60 years old, a balding gentleman who is quite a wise man, maybe not a learned man, but someone who has a lot of learning behind him and experience. A bit of a thrill seeker, and has an odd companion, a pigeon who is tame, that sits on my shoulder. And if you look at my pants, you'll see that there's something in them, and it could be a rifle.
Okay, that's a very small rifle.
No, shotgun.
Father Daniel.
I am Father Daniel Legba. I am the local Catholic priest of Harlem, and definitely not also an Orisha priest, honest governor.
I have no connection to those weird pagan practices.
No,
whatsoever.
Nothing at all. I don't invoke Orisha as saints at all.
Never. And then finally, certainly not last, Anston Atlanta Hughes.
I'm a horn player, and it's my goal in life to make people happy playing the blues. However, I'm just realizing, looking at these, my compatriots, I have the most experience of the weird shit that's been going on in Harlem. Yep. None of these people are people that I started out with. My previous companions have all met terrible fates, apart from Frank's character, who isn't playing with us tonight.
But both me and Mohammed lost our characters in the first
story. Yeah.
So I go wrong.
I was burned to death,
and I was executed.
For
Yeah.
murder.
Yeah.
For murder.
for
Yeah.
murder.
Yeah, and I shot Paul.
So I am a survivor, and also I have the Ouroboros ring. Do we all have the Ouroboros ring now? I think
Yes.
we all do. I'm not sure about Sam
Yes.
Smith.
I
but
think
yeah.
we think we joined in the second mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling maybe I might not be quite as confident about making people happy with all the shit that I've seen in the world.
And I found my
so-
notes of the last mystery,
Excellent.
and my notes for the second mystery.
Oh, nice. I respect the
Yeah.
note taking.
Yeah.
The use of any medium to hand logic of that note taking. Okay, so so you have been working together for the last 6 months. Your most recent case, if you will, and the one that you met Sam on, involved some creature thing that was able to leave its skin behind and crawl around, draining the blood of the innocent. You're sort of coming out. You're literally coming out of the apartment block where you have just finished filling said skin with salt, which is a known solution for this problem. Having tracked down the skin, you've emptied a whole bucket of salt inside it and then sewed it back up. And the creature will not have a home anymore and evaporate in the morning light. I literally read about it in Unbound and thought, do I just completely change the module because that's a cool monster? And then I went, no, I won't do that, but I will use it as the intro. You guys are coming out of this apartment block, covered in sort of the viscera, if you will, or at least some level of viscera, because it's not pretty when you're, sewing up skins and filling them with salt. It can get messy. So you step out onto the street. It's early evening. You timed it perfectly to sort of catch the spirit unawares, and now you are confident that when it returns to the body in the morning, it will find its home destroyed and will pass into whatever its just desserts or the next life looks like. Coming down the road is a person that you haven't seen in a little while. You haven't been to his barbershop in a couple of months. He's tall and lanky and sort of striding down the road quite casually. Father Daniel, you get a slight itching feeling all over your skin as he approaches you, almost like 1,000 little things skittering over your skin, just as a memory, as a reminder of the recent experiences that you might have had. Oh, hey, it's you. What a just on the road. That's amazing. Happens chance.
I'm kind of instinctively looking around to make sure we're not actually on a crossroads. I know it's not going in blue, but
that was the different guy.
No, there is no crossroad.
Cool. I'm somewhat relieved.
You're on a straight. What is it? A main road. You're on a main road.
Hello, Pop, and how are you?
I'm fine. I've been, sort of relaxing and cutting people's hair and, getting back into the vibe of things. I felt a little spread out, a little, sort of stretched recently. So I just needed some time to sort of, come back together, relax, get back into the mode of things, get comfortable back in my body, that sort of thing. Yourself?
Yes, we have been a little busy. There's been a certain something that has been causing problems in the neighbourhood that we've just, we hope, dealt with.
Oh,
Mi-
well, that's
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes.
well.
Mis- Mr.
Yeah.
Pops, I don't often go to the barber. I don't think we've met. I'm Samuel Smith. Have we met before? I don't think so. And I reach out my hand.
He reaches out and shakes it. A man like you probably doesn't need my services as frequently as others.
Well, I wish I did, but I don't. But it's nice to know that you're a good barber.
I'm a very fine barber, as the rest of these fine gentlemen can testify.
Yep, he's the best.
Yeah. Although you have all been subconsciously avoiding his shop since recent past.
Yeah, I'm trying to deflect it.
It's not
Generally
conscious.
preferring human barbers.
I might look at their hair and see that it is a couple of months shabby.
Yeah,
Kind of
exactly.
raise an eyebrow.
There's more than one barber in Harlem. Don't worry about that.
There is.
I'm quite a dapper young man when I could afford it. But yeah,
And we haven't seen each other in a little while, and I was thinking to myself just the other day, it's like we should catch up. We should go to a bar.
a bar.
Yeah, where people serve alcoholic beverages for the purposes of consumption.
A parlor where you drink
Yes,
and get
if you will.
inebriated.
If
Some
you will.
people get tied up for a very long time.
They
Fined.
Are we in basically the no drinking
Yeah,
allowed in
prohibition.
prohibition?
Yes, you are 100% in
Okay,
prohibition.
I thought
period.
we
So-
were. So
I'm raising once again. My eyebrows go up as he's just so liberally speaking about going to a bar.
Well, you're all he looks around. There's no police nearby. I mean,
Speak easy, my friend. Speak easy.
well, if you want, I was just gonna say it might be lovely to have a little bit of
Conversation.
liquid courage and perhaps even some easing. Yes, John.
Don't we? Are we still in the band? Right? Maybe we have. We can invite him to a show that we are doing today.
Look, I would love. I mean, personally, I would love to come to one of your shows. But look, to be honest, I do need you to come and have a chat. There's just a little story I need to share, and I thought it might be useful for you guys to hear it, as they say, straight from the mouth of the storyteller.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a, shall we say, in deference to Mr. Smith here, do you have a parlor in mind, or can we take you to a watering hole of our own?
Oh, as long as it's not too expensive, and as long as it's not full of high-end folk, I'm in for it.
Yeah. I'm always careful with my money. I will buy you a drink, Pops, if we go to a bar that I could afford.
That is very, very kind of you, and I will happily accept that offer. So perhaps we should. It's a good time, I think. Not too late, not too early. Care to show me the way, as they say?
I'm just thinking, should I go to Queenie Sinclair's place?
Do you owe her money at the moment? And more importantly, how much?
Well, obviously I owe some money, but I
No, that's why I said,
off
more
in
importantly,
previous
how much?
adventures. It's just that I do have a gambling addiction, therefore I'm pretty sure I owe her money again. I don't think it's a fortune, and I'm sure she's in a position where she'd be happy if I ran up tab on her account rather than anybody else's.
Didn't the
Well-
guy that hired us clear your debt with Queenie, or I am mistaken?
I thought
Yeah,
you
well, I
did.
definitely cleared my debt, but I have a gambling addiction, so I'm pretty
No,
sure.
he's back
Okay.
in debt with Queenie. The
Okay.
question is he
You're-
a debtor
you're
in
never
good
out of debt.
standing or
It's
a
a
debtor?
been a couple of months.
But as far
Yeah.
as debtors go, I'm sure she likes a creditor who pays.
Was that
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
It was Casper Holstein, wasn't it? Who we were working for, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And look, you're right. The fact that you paid off your debt at some point in the last 6 months has probably held you in good standing, despite the fact you pretty much accumulated back the level of debt you originally had. I mean, she's happy for you to be a debtor. It's just whether you're a debtor in good standing or not.
Yeah.
All right, so you go to Queenie's. So this is not a subtle, this is not a hidden speakeasy concealed underneath the covers of darkness kind of place. This is actually pretty blindingly, obviously, a place where music and alcohol can be acquired. So there's musicians playing. You find yourselves in, a booth. It's quiet. Surprisingly, somehow the sort of sound is dulled. Various flavors of alcohol are served, and Pops looks at you all and goes, "Now, I'm so very happy you were happy to meet up. Now, I don't want to be rude, but I'm sure you understand that, well, you owe me."
I knew this would come down to debt.
I mean,
You did certainly weave the Baron in Blue's story into a different chapter.
yes, and look, I don't want to be rude, but I feel like there's a bit of a debt owed, and I like to clear debts, and I like people to clear their debts with me. Now, you're currently doing a lot of floating around. I mean, I've heard stories, of course, of what you've been up to. So, how about I tell you a little story, and then all you need to do is listen,
as always.
as always.
Let me be clear here. Our debt to you is paid off by listening to your story?
Absolutely.
It never
It's
is.
just
And
a
of course,
little
by buying
story.
you the drink I just bought you.
Oh, well, if you want to include that, of course. I thought that was just a gift.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'm
I-
just not trying to upset you. Him.
I just look over at Father Daniel and I say, Father Daniel, you owe this man a debt? Like I kind of whispering.
Yes, he was very helpful with a particular nefarious individual.
Okay. Perhaps then we should listen to his story.
Obviously, if Pops wishes to tell us a story, we should always listen to a master storyteller.
Now,
Yeah, and always keep vigilance.
I would always suggest eyes on the back of your head.
Sure.
There is 4 of us. We do have 8 eyes as well.
Which is a surprisingly good number.
Boom, boom.
Now, boom, boom. Now this story it's an old story. I think that's an important starting point. And you might even know some of it. I mean, I don't know what stories you know. But really long time ago, like long ago, There was this old thing. Let's just say it was an old thing. It was a liar, though. Pretender, too. And it was a weaving and a winding, and, you know, it was wrapping the whole world up like a moth inside a web. Spinning and spinning and spinning. And then, you know, these other old things, younger but old all the same, they get a bit of a knowledge of this thing, right? They get a bit of a hearing of this thing, and they realize that when this thing finishes its weaving, there'll be nothing left around. It'll all be stuck in this web. So they think to themselves, hey, we don't want that to happen. Now, personally, I can see where they're coming from. Imagine no stories to be told, nothing moving, nothing new, nothing interesting, just frozen for all time in a web. So they think to themselves, we don't want that to happen. Now, they don't know how to fix it, though, because they don't understand weaving. They don't understand winding. So they go for a long walk, and they go north because they've heard tell that there's another old thing and a small thing, not a very big thing, not a very important thing, who's also a bit of a weaver. They go and see that old thing and they say, hey, you know what? It'd be really good if you could tell us what we do about this other old thing. Now tell me if I'm losing you with all the old things. And
So we've
then-
got an
many
old
old
thing in
things.
blue, and we've got an old thing. Well, I don't want to say this, Pops, but almost as old as you, if not exactly as old as you. And we got some fellas like us who came and asked a favour. Is this what we're saying?
Look, I'm not in this story. You understand? This is just a story. Just a story. Anyway, they come and they find this old thing and they ask for a little bit of help. Now, what strikes the old thing is, you know, can only jump so far, right? You gotta, you know, when you're a weaver, you can only weave as far as you can jump. Because if it's more than you can jump, then you can't finish the weave. And so those old folk, they work with the old thing, and they carve a great chasm in the world. Now this chasm is big. I mean, so big that it's more than any old thing can jump. So big. And they carve it in two. And they take one half of it and they put it in one place, and they take the other half of it and they leave it where it was. And then, but you know what? That first old thing is not very happy with this. Gets wind of it, right? Hears about it.
Now, Pops, if I may, I'm an old man. But my brain is slowing down. I just want to know, is this the old thing that's come up from the south?
No. Okay, so let's just go back over it. So first of all, there's the old thing that's weaving the world.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's the old things that go from the south and to the north. And then there's the old thing that lives in the north. And then the old things that go from the south to the north, they go and they listen to the old thing from the north, and he says to them, you got to split this thing. You got to make it so I can't jump it. I'll jump it.
But there's a chasm.
Exactly. They carve the world into two. Now, the old thing in the south, it's not very happy. Because obviously, it can't finish its weaving. Now, I don't know if you know very much about weaving, but it's hard work. But it's also very important to finish. Right, imagine a spider web half done. That's not
It'd be
okay.
a mess.
It would be a mess. And so it gets really angry.
The
Angry.
old thing from the south.
Yeah.
Very angry.
Now the old thing from the north. He's happy.
Well,
they are happy.
Happy is a. They just gave some advice.
Oh,
It wasn't their thing. Now, when the old thing from the south, he comes knocking on the old thing in the north because he knows the old thing in the north. Could you almost say we're like
Brothers?
talking about two cousins.
Oh, cousins.
You know. Anyway, he comes knocking, shouting and yelling, slamming on doors, making a whole big noise outside. So that old thing, he comes out through those doors and he's having a chat. And he thinks to himself, those old things in the south, they're a little annoying too. So what do you think he does? Well, he just says what you need. Just, he doesn't tell them, of course. But the old thing from the south, he can work it out. So now those things, they're going to run away because that old thing in the south, he's big and he's mean. Now, that was a long time ago, obviously. They're still running. It's still weaving. There's still this chasm. The old thing in the north has been thinking to himself, maybe, just maybe, shouldn't have helped that old thing in the south quite as much as he did. So he kind of feels like he owes a debt. Indeed. And then he's thinking to himself, if only I knew some people who
could help the old things.
Well, who could, just think of it this way, like and by the way, when I say I, of course, mean
this is the old thing in the north talking.
The old thing in the north, exactly.
Yes.
I'd be thinking to myself, what a smart thing to do would be to say, you could pay off your debt by paying off someone else's debt. And if there was something there, something sensible, something like someone who might already know those old things that have been running away, then that'd make it even more sensible. And then you think about, oaths that are sworn and all these other things, and you think to yourself, well, that's even more sensible. So I was just thinking, if you did that, well, it'd be like the dead be washed away, wouldn't it? One thing hands their debt onto another thing, and then that pays it off, and then suddenly we're all sweet.
Now, Pops, you seem to be speaking as if you're either the old man of the north or some type of liaison. And I'm going to do an observation roll to see his kind of like how he's answering. I'm going to kind of look at that.
And that's about what I expected. All right, so you make the observation roll, or rather, you don't. You have no read on Pops, none whatsoever. He could be talking about the weather for all the level of emotional sense that you're getting.
Okay.
You do get the distinct impression he's very good at lying, but that might just be a guess. Now, so I guess my question is, do you think it would be reasonable for one thing to hand its debt on to another group who already owed it a favor and get them to finish that up.
In other words, that other group would need to help the people that came from the south to the north.
Well, in this story.
In this
I mean,
story, yes.
Well, I mean, obviously, yes.
It is. It does, in the story, seem reasonable.
Yes, always happy.
As many things do seem reasonable in stories.
You have to keep the story going.
But you know, who as a decent person wouldn't want to help another in need?
My thoughts exactly. So I take it then you all agree that you know, one favor could be repaid by another person doing a favor on that person's behalf to someone they owed a favor to.
Well,
Can't argue that logic.
I certainly do.
Well, I assume the rest of you agree then. How about we make it this way? Silence will be acceptable as a yes.
Can't argue with that.
Excellent.
If Father Daniel accept the story,
well, I wouldn't want to, accept on your behalf. And also, one of our number would be accepting a debt with nothing owed.
Thank you, Father.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, Father. But didn't Pops help us with a thing that might have done more harm to everyone in Harlem?
True. You have a good point there. Yes.
Maybe it's all of Harlem that owes Potts a debt.
And not just for the good haircuts.
We pay for those haircuts. We pay for all those haircuts.
I've heard tell that there's this tradition in London that I met this British man, and he told me about these sweaters that they wore at Christmas time, and this story has the same type of weaving as that, and just not right. And I'm afraid I want to help Harlem, but I am confused.
Well,
are we helping you, Pops?
Well, no. I mean, it's just a story.
It's a heavy story.
Yeah. Well, probably. I wouldn't know. I mean, it's just a story.
Well, if perhaps people helped, would they be susceptible to falling into this chasm?
Oh, look, I don't think you need to worry about things like that. I mean, it's just a story.
It's just a story. And
just a story.
Raise my glass.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what. It's a funny thing. I heard tell. There's going to be a lecture on soon.
Where?
On what subject?
Well, on the subject of African American progress in America.
Oh.
And I think you should go.
That does sound interesting.
Look, it'll be fascinating. I can't make it for various
I understand
reasons.
you're a very busy man.
well, I just don't think I belong in places like that. Whereas men like yourselves and people of importance to the local community, you know, Atlanta, you know, is a brilliant musician. John's working hard to protect everyone in America from violence. And Father Daniel, you are a fine, upstanding member of the community. And Sam, you've got a lot going on. You've been helping people for a long time. You've been, you know, working when the police can't be trusted to keep people safe. I just think you're the right people to go to this type of lecture. And I don't want to get in your way. So how about you just go to this lecture? I think it'd be great. I've got some invitations which I acquired. You know, someone gave them to me.
That's very useful. Thank you.
It is very useful. And what I think would be great is if you could just go. So
do we know the speaker? Do you know the speaker in the lecture?
Oh, you'll know them very well. It's Alan Locke, quite a famous speaker. You know, very important man around town. Tells some great stories. So please do go.
When is
And
Let my companions finish their drinks, because obviously Father Daniel has not had anything to drink here.
right. Well, look, how about puts the invitations on the table? Yes, Atlanta.
So when is this lecture? When does it start?
It'll be starting in a couple of days' time at 7 p.m.
Okay, so we have some time to go. So I pick up these tickets, invitations.
Yeah.
Is
We'll go,
there? Yeah.
We'll go.
Do we expect something to happen in the lecture? Do we need to be ready in some sort of
sounds like
way?
the beginning of a story.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Okay.
Can I just time out for a moment?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what I should spend my 5 points of experience on. I realise the doctor's not here. Do we have anybody who's got first aid?
0.
Or medicine, I mean?
I have 0.
You're 0 too, Sam. Okay.
Yeah.
I think with the experience that I've had, I may take that one that gives me +2 to first aid or whatever it is. Battle experience.
Okay. Well, you've certainly had some.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
You've seen people
I,
shot.
I've got a critical thing.
You do, which gives you +3 to your
+3 to my stealth.
Yeah.
Spinal injury.
Okay. Should we retreat to our headquarters? We still have the 369 base, right?
369 with, was it yeah, the 369 isn't it? It's like the, is it Phoenix Platoon?
All right.
Sorry. Yeah. So he goes to the armory. That's our base.
Yeah, it's the armory.
Yes,
Yeah.
the armory is your base. That's right.
Here's another thing. I'm not suggesting we do it now, Thomas, and get bogged down in shopping. But I wonder whether if we play again, we ought to be treating the armory as
your headquarters.
The Vaesen rules and
Yeah. We could do that actually.
Cool.
Okay. So fast forward 7 days. I don't mind if you diddle around with rules in the background.
I would have briefed quietly Sam about who we just had a conversation with. That is actually Ansi, the African god of stories. Which is why we had to be careful around him. He assisted us in our last one of our last mysteries, where we basically stopped the Baron in Blue, who was a crossroads demon. He basically ate the demon. Did he eat the demon?
Yeah.
He pretty much
He
ate the
pretty much
demon
ate the
through
demon,
you.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
should
through
remember
me.
you were heavily involved with being all the spiders, Father Daniel.
Yes.
Yes, having them pour out of your body was not a lot of fun.
No.
And he gave a whole he gave a whole speech, as in the spiders did, gave a whole speech about this being a place where he's particularly powerful in that process.
You're muted, Douglas. He cannot hear you.
Sorry, my dogs were barking. So as Father Daniel explains this to me, I say to him, is this is Pops trustworthy? Does he have Harlem in his heart?
Let me bring him back. No.
He
is a trickster god of stories, and you have to understand that. He doesn't harbor ill thoughts towards Harlem. He's nonplussed.
He lives in Harlem.
He lives in Harlem at the moment, so we would hope that but he is a trickster god. But he's a trickster god who likes telling stories.
We know there are people who do wish Harlem harm, but I can tell you this, Sam, they're all of them white.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. Well, this professor, this Locke, do any of you know anything about this man?
Alan Locke.
Yeah, you all know about Alan Locke.
Oh,
Okay,
we all know
so
about
Alan Locke is one of the leading sort of voices in sort of the recognition of a different identity for African Americans.
Alan
writes
Leroy Locke.
Yeah, he writes in the New Negro, which is a really seminal publication of the period. He's active in philosophy. He's friends with Langston Hughes. He's actually part of he may even be, along with Langston, the definition of Harlem Renaissance. Like the concept of the Harlem Renaissance can be drawn directly to Alan Locke and a couple of other players.
Now, he was teaching, as I see, at the University of Howard. And then I think he was kicked out.
Yeah, well, there are, I mean, along with, what do you say? Along with Langston Hughes, Alan Locke is not only African American, he's also gay. In a period where that is a more than complicated thing.
Okay. So we're all, I would imagine that we're all kind of excited to have this opportunity to hear him.
Correct. And at this point, he's actually teaching at Howard University, actually.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I hadn't read that before. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, he's W.E.B. Du Bois is the other guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes. So, you know him. He's probably definitively one of the leading thinkers of the period, and very famous. at least in Harlem. Okay. So 7 days in the future, you're at the home of, what's her name? June Hampton, who is a philanthropist who owns a whole bunch of apartment blocks around Harlem. She's African American. She came from the South at the end of the Civil War, basically worked really hard, bought up a whole bunch of apartments and has turned that into wealth, which has then been used to sort of fund a lot of these movements.
So
Now
she'd be in her 80s.
Just on, yeah,
Okay.
late 70s, yeah.
Okay.
And came from the south
Yes, and came from the south a long
to
time
the
ago.
north.
Yes, maybe not quite like that, but I see where you go.
New York, Brother Daniel?
At some point. No, some people were here from the matter of fact, I think I read this recently. Oh no, it's Virginia, isn't it? It's Virginia where the first slave auction was held. Okay, so you're there. There's all these people. So you sort of turn up and you give your little invitations in. There's actually, like, you're in the high set at this point, right? So there's a whole bunch of very important people here. There are some sort of Caucasian folk floating around who are obviously sponsors and supporters of the growing sort of African American movement. You can see it's a kind of like it's actually a big room, and it's been cleared out, and there's literally sort of chairs in rows kind of thing. At the front, there's a bit of a podium, and you can see various people circulating around. There's a sort of ding, ding, ding on the glass, and you're all invited to find seats. So my question for you, my first and most important question for you is, are you trying to sit up the front or are you trying to sit up the back?
I probably
Don't
want
say
to
the middle. Don't say the
Yeah, I'll probably want to stay at the back to have to look around, seeing if there is any.
Okay.
I will probably not sit. I will lean against a wall to have a overview of the stage.
I would wait to near the end to sit, and then sit in any available seat, not wanting to take anybody else's seat up who'd want to sit. Basically,
Hilariously,
you know what
you're the only person in the group that other people in this parlor will recognize.
I mean? Yeah.
I'll be
But
sitting.
I will be hanging back so other people can sit down, as in, other guests can sit down, and I'll sit in any available spot.
Right. And Sam?
I'm going to be in the back with John, and I'm going to take a seat right on the edge where I can kind of get out, maybe to go to the washroom, or just I like a quick exit.
Okay, and finally, Atlanta.
There are places where I'd be up the front, but this isn't one of those places, so I'm at the back.
So you're sitting at the back.
Yeah. I may not even be sitting at the back. I may be standing at the back.
Along with John.
Along with John.
So leaning against a wall quietly in the back. All right. Father Daniel, the only seat remaining is right up the front.
Okay. I will sit
Of course.
at the front.
Yeah.
Literally on that front row.
Yeah, I'm happy to sit wherever.
Okay. You sit down, and the person sitting next to you greets you. Hello.
Greeting my son or daughter.
No. Well, I don't think you use that language. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. It's a white person.
I would still use that language.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. It's a very tall woman, and sitting next to her is also a very tall man, although somewhat more portly in stature than her. She's quite thin. Him not. They're both sitting there. You probably know them at least by name. So these are the Thwaites. They are known around town as being quite progressive and avid supporters of African American growth and awareness. Okay, so June, who to the point made earlier is almost 70 or thereabouts, is sort of comes up to the stand, to the podium, sorry. Friends, I just want to thank you all for here. Oh no, so this is set. Oh, sorry, this is set after he's been released. Okay, well, that's an important point. Friends, I don't think my guest needs any introduction, but in case you don't know, Dr. Locke, lately of Howard University, which we're sad to say released him from his position for teaching on the radical subject of race relations. And she smiles wryly at this point. There's a small sort of, ironic laugh that travels through the group. Mr. Alan Locke or Dr. Alan Locke, and Alan comes up. Thank you, and thank you, Miss Hampton, for inviting me to speak tonight. It is always a pleasure to be in such fine company. I trust the audience will be a receptive one. Now, for the first, the talk is scheduled for 45 minutes, according to the invitation you have. He begins talking for a number of you who may not be the most erudite or academically minded. He's talking about a whole bunch of topics that are in the New Negro. By the way, I am saying New Negro because it is explicitly the name of the magazine, just to be very clear, despite my commitment to not use that language normally. And to a large extent, it's very familiar material. Oh, we've lost Matt. Yeah. I shall keep an eye out. He will no doubt join.
Does that mean we've lost the stream?
Well, no, maybe. I don't know. I'm not paying too much attention. I mean, I'm streaming, so it's fine. Others
no,
may not.
It's streaming. It's still streaming.
Okay.
Now, after the 45-minute mark, and it's all been very academic up to this point, he launches into more extreme subjects, talking about the recent news of murders that have happened in the South, of a mob attacking and mutilating 2 young bellmen. I need not tell you the color of these young men's skin, he says. They were bellmen working in Mississippi, enticed into the room of 2 white women, and when discovered, well, you know what would have happened. Now, I am telling you, sorry.
You can see John's face when you tell him. You see what happened. You know what happened. You see his face completely changed, and there is some sort of anger and regret in his face because of the trauma they had before. I don't want to spoil the trauma right now because he didn't say to anybody, but you already know it, I guess.
Yes, and if you actually want to know what actually happened, you can do a quick search on December 31, 1927, and mob mutilates 2 men, and you will get the full story, which I shall pass on describing in any great detail, if only because it is not my story to tell. So there is a silence in the room, and then Locke in and once again, the only member of your group who would actually have attended an Alan Locke speech before is Father Daniel. Father Daniel, this is now going well beyond how Alan or Elaine normally talks. He is now stretching into very emotional language. He's normally very reserved, very controlled. He starts talking about the importance and the criticality of speaking up against this. We need to get together, and he's actually advocating for a march to be held in the next couple of weeks, and I can't remember the exact date, but I think it's New Year's Day. That's right. A New Year's Day march in Harlem to speak up on the rights of African Americans. Can any of you who so desire make a observation roll? And then, because observation, this has been a while. Yes, it's observation. And then Father Daniel, can you, in addition to that, make a vigilance roll, please?
I got a success on my. I think I got a success on my observation roll.
You did not.
Oh, I did not. No, it must have been somebody else. Sorry.
Samuel Smith got
Yeah,
a
Samuel
success.
Smith got a success.
You can share
And then
the
make a vigilance
boundary.
roll. I'm not very vigilant.
Yes, I can do this.
Oh yeah,
I got to say, I'm loving those Vaesen dice you've got
I know.
there.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Like I
successful with my vigilance.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Yes, good. Yeah, this is the, like I said earlier, or before we started streaming, this is actually the Free League official module. So
Cool.
it's got all the good stuff in it. And yeah, it's good stuff. Like the Foundry module is brilliant. Well worth the money.
And to remind you, I do have 6 cents if that has any.
No, not in this particular case, but I will. So first of all, let me deal with the observation successes. So all the people who make their observation roll can see that Elaine is going into very emotional, like he's getting very worked up. He's very emotional, and he's speaking with this authority, and you can feel the authority flowing across the room. Like you can actually see people responding to it. Now, he's normally a very powerful speaker, but a very academically minded one. He speaks facts in a particular way. He's very persuasive, but this is something else. This is something that goes beyond that. And even yourselves can feel this sort of rising rage, for want of better language, or at least this rising anger in response to what he's saying. Now, Father Legba, and specifically because of some other things that you have available to you,
All right.
you can see he's on the side of the podium. He's rested his leather satchel, like a leather sort of side bag thing, and you can see sticking out of it this kind of grass hair kind of thing, and it looks very familiar to you, like so very familiar. Matter of fact, you might even have one of these at home.
Yes.
Like literally, you've got one of these at home, kind of stuff.
Well,
So
might not be at
there
home,
is an
but-
Orisha. He's got an Orisha mask, you're pretty sure, inside that satchel. Specifically noting you yourself have an Orisha mask as a piece of equipment, it seems relevant to make that point.
Yep. And I am a priest of the Orisha as well as a Catholic.
No. Remember, we described this earlier. You are not a priest
No,
of the
I'm
Orisha.
not a priest of Orisha. Yes. Sorry.
This was formally identified at the beginning of the adventure that in no way, shape, or form have I ever been or am likely to be known as a priest of the Orisha, nor have I ever applied Catholic syncretism or syncretism to the application of the identification of saints and marrying them up with local deities.
Yeah. Not done that.
In a way that allows me to continue to practice my religious faith under the umbrella of the Catholic
the Catholic Church. Yes.
I have never been a party to any of those behaviors, nor will I ever be in the future.
No, that's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you can feel this rising thing, and actually, Father Legba, you're an occultist, aren't you?
Yes, I'm an occultist.
Yeah.
By template. I got medium and 6 sense and brave.
Oh, okay. Make an investigation test.
Okay. Not that good at investigation, but here it goes.
Now the doctors are king on this one.
Oh, nope.
He wouldn't have got the roll. All right, no, that's it. Okay, cool.
Can I see anybody in the crowd that is not what do you call it, out of place, or maybe getting angry in the not common way during Dr. Allen's speech?
Could you make a vigilance roll for me, please?
Sure. Okay. Okay. Vigilance. Come on. Okay. One
Yes.
success.
There's a white man in the middle sort of row area who is seemingly unaffected by whatever is going on with Alan.
Just nudge Atlanta and tell him to keep an eye on this person.
Sure.
If
All right. So
if
you're
I overhear that and
Yeah.
well, you're all sort of clustered together
All
at
three
the
of
back
us,
of the
yeah.
room.
so
yeah.
could I do kind of an investigation of what I'm seeing?
You could make an investigation roll.
What are you trying to do? Because there's 3 different investigative skills in this game.
I'm trying to do investigation.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I know the difference.
You're familiar. Yeah.
I'm very
I'll
familiar
teach
with
you
the
vampires. Okay.
vigilance.
Oh,
Vigilance is the big one.
that's right. I forgot how good you were at this. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So you don't just. So you recognize him,
This is the white gentleman
the white gentleman.
who's not being moved by this.
That's right.
Mm.
Okay. He works for the police. You're pretty sure.
Oh.
And you suspect, and you would be not surprised to discover,
If
that a
this is the
speech
same,
by a noted African American
Rabble-rouser.
thinker, rabble rouser, who's just been released from Howard University for propagating complex social questions, might be exactly the sort of person who might acquire a degree of interest from the authority in this
So it's
particular
none of the
setting.
officers. Is it the officers from the 30th precinct, or is it the officers, an officer from the 32nd precinct?
Oh God! Now you're reminding me. Which
Or
one was
is
the bad
the,
one?
Second,
The
I think, is
32nd
the-
precinct was the because we got Grissom.
Was the 32nd precinct the one with the actual Klansman in it?
No,
believe-
that's the 30th.
Right, then it's definitely the 30th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because we know that Grissom is a nice officer in the 32nd.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely from the 30th.
Which precinct that we not invaded, but we marched
That was the
toward this?
30th, because the
That was the
30th
30th.
isn't actually in our jurisdiction. They're sort of on the boundaries of Harlem, and they came in and took over anyway.
Yeah,
If you remember.
came in and took over an investigation.
So it should have gone to the 32nd.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna nudge. I'm gonna nudge Atlanta and say, "Do you see that? Do you see that? That copper over there?"
What you mean? The one that John pointed out, and so I should keep an eye on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see him.
he's trouble.
Okay. We've had his sort of trouble before. What do you expect me to do about it? Leave the building? Because that is my gut reaction.
That's my gut reaction, but I wanna march.
I tell you what I'm going to do. This individual copper is here to spy on the rabble rouser, but I'm pretty sure he might be waiting for him to say the wrong thing, and then there's a whole bunch waiting outside. So I might just head to the door and take a peek outside the hall to see whether there's any shenanigans going on in terms of uniformed policemen in large number?
So I have good news. There is not.
Right. I will come back and report that to the others.
But you now that you've got him under careful observation, every now and then you see him sort of opening up a notebook, looking surreptitiously around and making some notes.
Oh, he's taking. He's just
taking names, do we think?
taking this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so while he's doing this, I'm starting to get quite anxious, and I look over at John and Atlanta, and I say, my age has made my bladder a bit. So I'm just gonna go to the bathroom for a bit. I'll be right back. Be real quick. And so
That's okay. I'm just feeling a bit of a chill myself. I just want to pull my hat a bit further down on my head. And maybe
so I leave to go to the washroom, and as soon as, and then I come back.
All right. So are you going away? Sorry.
I am going to. So I'm going to go wherever the washroom is on that.
Yep.
On that level, and and I'm just going to keep an eye out, and then I'm going to go to the washroom. I imagine that it's just one, it's like a private washroom.
Yep.
And I'll just go in there and do what I do.
Okay.
And you just can tell me when I come back.
All right. So you go to the washroom. You've pulled your hat down and your coat, flicked up the lapels of your jacket to sort of cover your lower face a little bit more effectively.
I'm generally assuming a hunched position.
Yeah.
I may even
Brother
have
Daniel, of course, is completely unaware of this because it's all going
totally.
on behind. Now, Father Daniel, so this goes
John
on.
Doesn't care. John doesn't care.
No. This goes on for at least another 20 minutes, and then visibly exhausted from this powerful speech that he's just given, Elaine sort of rattles off to an almost incomplete ending. By this point, Sam, you've come back. Atlanta, you guys have been watching this guy like a hawk, as in the policeman. As he wraps up, the policeman gets up, looks around for a second, puts his notebook in his sort of upper pocket, and then walks out quickly and adroitly.
Go ahead, Sam, first.
No, go on, John.
Maybe doing something stupid. I'll just try to bump into him and steal the notebook.
So when John bumps into him, am I coming back at that same time?
Sure. I'm sold.
And so I'm also seeing this happen, and I see him bumped, and I'm going to try as well to kind of maybe just kind of grab as quickly as possible the notebook.
Okay, so just so it's completely clear in my head, you're both trying to steal the same object in the same moment.
We're passing.
Okay, awesome. I can't see how this could possibly go wrong.
Hold on. Is this the thing where are you saying John picks up the notebook but immediately palms it off on you, Sam, so that if John gets caught, he's not going to have the notebook on him? Or are you saying you're both?
If John is able to pull it off, I'll see it, hopefully. But when I see him, I'm not noticing John bumping into him as much as I'm intending on kind of seeing him run out and kind of just playing the old man card and just kind of wobbling and trying to pickpocket it.
Okay, can I get I think it's going to be agility rolls. Yeah, why not? Agility.
Agility, of course.
Okay, each one will have a separate.
Parkinson's was stealth.
I thought it was stealth.
Okay, stealth. I don't mind. 5 dice
Yeah,
for you.
sneak, pick
John.
locks,
Thank you.
perform
Thank you,
card
Father.
tricks.
Okay. Stealth
Because
is.
I'm specifically good at that. I've got 7
Okay.
dice in stealth.
So
You should have been in the back.
we will go for stealth then. Okay.
Yep. Go for it.
You go first.
Oh!
And then
Nice.
I'm going to go.
All right. So
you can click on the chat to just we see the results instead of the actors in Foundry.
I can click on the what?
On the chat to view the results. Yes.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like
Yes,
that.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
Okay. So I'm not quite sure how to work this. So the I think it's pretty simple actually. So John, you've acquired the notebook.
Yeah, I'm just bumping into him and saying, "Stupid this lecture."
He looks at you, very annoyed.
Sorry,
And
sir.
then sort of,
I was.
Watch where you're going.
Sorry, sir.
Just-
I was very
And it's-
mad about this lecture. It's nonsense that way he's saying. And
looks at you strangely
Yeah.
for a second. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, and then he moves on. At that point, Sam runs into him, but the book is gone. But Sam, you've kind of got your hand in his pocket, and it's
Well,
empty.
I would push
I-
I'd
I've-
push that roll.
Oh, okay, because I did
Otherwise you're gonna
agility.
get
I
caught.
did agility to see if I was falling, because I failed. So I thought that I'd do agility to see if I fell.
Well, it's up to
So-
you. No, you should push because you'll take a condition if you fail to push. Oh, well, you'll take a condition in any case. But sorry, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you managed to not end up with your hand stuck in his pocket with him asking you why your hand is
Okay.
stuck in his pocket. You tap it and you realise that it's empty.
Yep.
And yes, John has grabbed it. Now, quickly, Father Daniel, are you doing anything? That's an important question.
I'm going to be going up to talk to Elaine.
Right. Well, he's very tired. He's come down off the podium. He's grabbing his satchel bag.
I would basically step forward and hand him his satchel bag. And as I hand it, I will tap the mask and give him a knowing look as I pass it to him.
Okay, you can make another investigation roll for me, please.
Okay. Investigation. Rubbish at, but there he goes. Yep, 3 5s.
No, really,
Bullshit.
I'm an Orisha priest, really. No, really.
So I
Anyway.
wouldn't say that. I just tapped it and
No.
handed it to him.
No, I'm more reflecting on your
My terrible dice
level
rolls.
of dice rolling. He looks at you and he strangely eyebrows raised. Sorry, can I help you?
An interesting mask you have there.
Oh, the mask. Oh, yes. It's from a friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yes. Elias
We can
sent
see all
it from
this.
overseas.
All right. Nice.
Yeah. Do you know anything about these masks?
I am a student of theology.
Oh, well, I myself have no such knowledge. I am much more concerned with the progress of our people.
I believe it is an African, a mask of African origin. I believe some of the superstitious tribesmen use it in their religious rituals.
Oh, he sort of opens up the satchel quite openly and pulls it out and shows it to you. It's 100% an Orisha mask. You're now looking at the whole thing. It's 100% an Orisha mask. Matter of fact, I might even have a picture. Do I have? Yeah, there it is.
Cool.
And then let's go show plays.
That's we yep, cool.
Yep.
We can
can all
see
see
it.
it.
We can see it now, yeah.
open.
Oh, because I'm
We're seeing your screen.
Yeah.
Because
what I
I'm
was saying. You
streaming.
can see all the names of people that you were.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good to remember. All right. Anyway, yes. So there you go. So I've doubled down on showing it to you.
Cool.
I'll go back to that stance then. So it's an Orisha mask. It's got the 3 eyes. You can make a lore roll now as opposed to a investigation roll.
A lore roll.
Yeah.
Is that learning?
It certainly is.
Okay. Any bonus or just straight roll?
I'll give you 2 bonus die actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is literally something you practice as a religion. Thank God.
Thank God. That would have embarrassed
The
me.
level of, oh my God, are they going to make a roll sometime tonight? It's springing to mind as next level. Okay, so yes, it is definitively an Orisha mask. It's not one you immediately recognize.
Okay.
So it's not tied to any particular deity or spirit, if you will. You do get the sense that it is very old. And yeah, that's what you get. Like, it's an Orisha mask. It's very old. If you had time, I would love to catch up with you and talk about it.
You are always welcome at the church. Our
Well,
doors are always
why
open.
don't you come to lunch in 2 days? We're going to have a lunch here.
That would be very. I'd be very interested. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. All right. So but look, I'm very sorry. I'm really very tired.
Yes.
So I might.
You certainly rode that horse very well in your speech.
Yes. I've never felt quite so impassioned before. But I mean, this is important, and
it's an important topic. Yes,
it is, and I just felt I needed to tell that story.
Yes.
All right. So he then packs the mask back into the bag and basically side exits. Like, so there's all these people thronging around to talk to him, but he just bounces out through the side door and disappears.
Okay.
Effectively.
I will smooth as I normally do. Just go around talking to people.
A quick chat with the Thwaites who were sitting next to you, perhaps. So absolutely no surprise. They are impassioned, sort of supporters of the cause. Recognise that they're philanthropists as well. They actually live in Manhattan, not in Harlem, which is no great surprise. They seem very knowledgeable and lovely and all of those sorts of things, and concerned and willing to put their money where their mouth is. Okay. You've got the notebook. The rest of you got the notebook. You all gather back together, I'll assume. I'll jump to the chase on the notebook. A quick check through it is literally just notes on what he'd said and the names of various people who'd been at the event, broken into 2 lists, which you work out very quickly is white people and not white people. So, with asterisks next to people who you would recognize as people of some prominence.
So the Thwaites would be on that.
Absolutely. And asterisked very heavily. With traitor written next to it.
I go up to Father David and say, "You're going to get in touch with all your parishioners, aren't you? Like, you really must. We've got to march. We've got to march." And I'm like really quick in my speech, and I'm kind of a little sweaty, holding my back a bit.
Yes.
Are you okay, my son? You
Yeah,
seem a
yeah,
little
I'm fine. Up on my back. I'm old.
inspired.
Look, you've got to get the parishioners. You've got to get in touch with them. We have to march.
We have to be careful if the police are we do not want to give the police the excuse to fire upon an unarmed crowd, because they would. We have to be very careful when we do arm the parishioners. I have not arm, when we do inspire my parishioners. I think the last time we did so was to enable some of my parishioners to escape the clutches of the police when they were wrongly arrested.
I was about to say, you literally led a march on a police station.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Yes,
I was hoping for
we have to be
compliance.
careful. I know, and it's sort of it's still yeah.
And I'm like,
There was
I'm
people's
just
lives at risk at that particular point,
and
which is why
I just keep on saying that all of our lives are at risk. Every day our lives are at risk, but I'm speaking really, really quickly, and there's sweat pouring down, and I'm like really dogged about this.
I'm a little concerned. I ask if you need to sit down and have a drink of water.
Water would be good. Yeah, water would be good.
I'll bring it to you. I'll bring it to you. Just calm down. I'll bring it to you.
I have no medical skills, so I don't know that Sam is hopped off on some sort of drug or other. Because I have no clue.
I feel like Atlanta knows absolutely, though, that is a man who is clearly on something significant.
Yeah, I was about to say much the same here. Do you want me to make an observation roll? Can I work out what it is?
You can, yeah, for sure.
I think it's opium, but
John is too innocent to notice that.
Father Daniel just doesn't know.
I'm just going straight observation here, and I
cocaine.
Oh yeah, of course.
Rapid talking.
Rapid talking.
Not opium. Slacking off.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. It's not the relaxed mode. So you guys. So I guess the question is, there's the offer of lunch in a couple of days. Floating around.
Tell everyone about that, and also the fact that because they all know that I'm not an Orisha priest.
Not. Yeah.
Definitely not an Orisha priest. That he had an Orisha mask an old Orisha mask in his bag. I don't know if does anybody heard of Elias? I didn't catch his second name though, but
he didn't give you one. Yeah,
no, that's what I'm saying.
Elias.
I've not heard of an Elias, so but it is Elias that sent it him.
So I will get you if you make a learning roll, Father Daniel, and anyone else, but everyone else you need 2 successes. Father Daniel only needs 1.
Okay, learning then.
I'll make a learning roll. I won't get anywhere with it.
Yeah, same. I only have.
Father Daniel got the 1.
Yep.
I got 1, but not.
You're just not in the right circles. I was applying the not in the right circles penalty. All right. So Father Daniel, you're pretty sure he's talking about Elias Jackson, who is a somewhat famous explorer who has spent a lot of time in Africa. He's African American himself. and he goes to Africa a lot and explores sort of, where we came from sort of stuff.
Yep.
And to your knowledge, quite famously, a very good friend of Elaine's.
A good friend of
Elaine.
Oh right, yep.
So somewhat older. So Elaine is in his mid-20s by this point. Elias Jackson is
About 30,
he's
40s, probably
40s.
40s.
because he's 85. He was born.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
sorry,
I know
my
that
apologies.
I was born in 67.
Sorry.
I think.
They met when he was younger. My apologies.
Okay.
So so anyway, so they Elias is a somewhat famous explorer. He's written tracks on where we came from, and all of what he's seen and what he's heard. He's sponsored by various philanthropists, and you would guess he's actually the person who sent the mask.
Right. Okay. I think it was Elias Jackson who sent the mask.
Or have I got it? Yes, Elias Jackson. Yeah.
So, Daniel, do you think Elias Jackson knows the significance of that mask? Is he, shall we say, a priest? Not like you, not a Catholic priest like you, but a old style priest, or has he picked it up there and doesn't know its true meaning?
Quite possibly.
Because you don't think, oh bloody hell, I've forgotten his name. Isaac? Did we just go in here talking? What was his name?
Elias.
Elaine Locke.
Elaine. You don't think Elaine knew the significance of it?
I don't think so. It's a very very old mask, and not specifically tied to one specific Orisha. So I'd like another look at it, but he has invited us for a meal in a few days, which would be interesting.
I look at.
I've got to say,
go on.
As you're staring at me, I nod at you and I say, only that speech seemed to have a mighty powerful effect on a good number of the audience. And I'm not saying it was a bad speech. A lot of truth was said, but it had a mighty powerful effect. And I looked significantly down at wherever you keep your mask. If you get my meaning.
And also, he was extremely tired after it, like he'd been ridden by something.
Oh, will it consume him? Okay, I don't know.
What's the connection between this speech and Pop sending us here?
Pop's obviously, perhaps this mask might be linked to the old thing down south.
The thing from the south, yeah.
Hmm.
I've got to say, that's my feeling.
So the south.
And I ain't clever like you, Father Daniel, but that's my first thought, is that maybe...
I'm sorry, you do yourself a good... You do yourself a disservice, Alanta.
Yeah, I'd say... I get so confused talking about this sort of stuff, but what I'm saying is we might be here to help the man. We may not be here to help the spirit that is riding him.
So from the south,
which is going to be an awful fix, because I can defeat the ghosts of Germans. I can defeat the NYPD, as we have done in the past, but I'm not sure I could defeat somebody who's calling for the people of Harlem to rise up against the oppressor.
Don't forget the mafia.
You also dealt with the mafia, I believe.
I certainly don't want to mess up with. what's that man's name? Spinelli? I forget.
Yeah.
It was Spinelli.
Do you think that the story of the South we're not talking about Mississippi, but we're talking about Africa, and the North is here, and the Gulf is the ocean.
Hmm.
The chasm.
Meaning when the continents.
It would be sometimes trying to find the answer to one of Pop's stories is like trying to find the end of a yarn in a tangled ball of yarn.
I understand. Yeah.
And I got to say this. You speak mighty poetical about this. And almost like my cousin Langston. I suddenly realised I've got the same surname, so forgive me that one. But I find it easier to believe that if there's evil in this world, it resides in the south of this continent than it resides back where we four all came from.
All right. So, for the sake of moving it along, that folds that out. That night, you're all asleep. You find yourselves in a dark forest.
Oh shit! I hate it. I hate
Sorry,
I hate a dark forest.
you hate a dark forest. I hate a dark forest.
Yeah.
There are sounds you don't recognize in the forest.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
Even if you yourselves have been in the woods before, John, you don't recognize the sounds. There are noises you're just not familiar with, and it's a creeping darkness. You're also paralyzed, so you can't move. You're paralyzed, like you're standing still in this forest. You're paralyzed and you can't move. Creeping out of the woods in front of you, out of this clearing, is this thing. It's bloated and fat. It writhes. Its body moves like a maggot on these two giant stumpy legs, but its whole body sort of writhes and twists just the way that a maggot does. It's got this glistening grey skin, similar in nature. Like the whole vibe of the thing is like a maggot with two big fat stumpy legs and these two big fat stumpy arms coming out of it. Its face is indescribably horrific. There are these black beady eyes glittering in the darkness and this mouth with all of these tentacles coming out of it, writhing and moving, and it's sort of snuffling around on the ground as it sort of, it's kind of, you can see its tentacles kind of scattering out from its mouth and rolling along the ground and then coming back into its mouth, and it lifts its head into the air and sucks in all of its tentacles and shakes its head and then shakes its head again and then bows its head back down, and it's moving closer and closer to you while you stand there paralyzed, unable to move. Could I get a fear check from everyone, please?
Okay. This
Right,
is either
and
empathy
remind me how we do a
or
fear check now. Logic
It's
or empathy?
or logic.
Empathy or logic?
And I get a +1 because I am brave.
I'm on
why not?
1. Success.
Ooh, 2. Ooh,
And
ooh,
I
2
got
from 3
none.
dice. Nice.
You got none. Okay.
Not that brave, obviously.
Not that brave. Could everyone who failed please take a condition on the track that you chose to roll against, as you suffer the effect?
So they're all mental.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to take frightened.
So I'm frightened now and hopeless.
One success, though. Did we? Just checking. Pops?
Okay. So
Pops,
you
did
are
we only
all.
need one success.
You only needed one success at this point. Okay. So you're all paralyzed, and then you look around and you realize you can see each other in the
forest.
So, yeah.
In the
So
dream.
your eyes sort of can move from side to side. And then as the fear affects you, you realize you're getting a little bit of freedom of movement. You can move your head a little bit. And then you look side to side and you can see each other. But not only that, you can see around the clearing that you're at all of these other people, some of who you recognize immediately, some of who you don't, but attendees. And Father Daniel, you can see the Thwaites in sort of almost directly across you in the clearing. So Bob, who's the man, obviously, and his partner Catherine, across the clearing. The creature, its tentacles now sort of scattering out. One of the tentacles wraps itself around Bob's foot and comes back into its mouth, and it sucks it in, and it looks around in the air, and then it snaps its head directly in the direction of Bob Thwaite and shuffles directly across to where he is, and it reaches out and embraces.
As it does,
his head
can I talk?
Can you talk? Yes, why not?
I'll go no.
All right, so you all hear this no sound, and then you see the tentacles wrapping themselves around Bob's head and neck and reaching into his mouth, and he's sort of traveling down and all over his face and his eyes and reaching into his ears. And you can see Bob sort of scream, sort of slowly screaming this voice, and then the creature sort of sniffs loudly, sucks all of its tentacles back in, and then just grabs his head and twists it. You hear this loud cracking sound in the clearing, and then you see his body just collapse to the ground. At that point, the creature, you hear a sound. Can I get vigilance rolls from everyone, please?
Sure.
No. Yes.
Oh.
Someone got a yes.
Yeah, I got a success.
Yes.
All right.
Only had two,
Armsworth and Atlanta. It sounds for all so you guys are like surrounded by all these noises and everything, and then you hear a sound very familiar to you, very domestic even. It's the sound of a cat meowing.
Huh.
Like a little domestic cat meowing. There's this sort of meowing sound, and the creature looks sort of exactly like that. And the creature suddenly snaps to attention, looks across the clearing behind all of you, like it's looking into the darkness, and then starts and sprints away into the darkness. And then there's this like rubbing feeling against your leg, and then suddenly you're back in your beds.
What the? What? Sorry, Father. What the hell was that?
We're in our own separate beds.
Okay,
You're
so-
in your own separate beds.
Okay.
Yeah, but do we all live in the armory now, or
Well, I can't
don't.
imagine that
or do
Father
we have
Daniel does.
homes?
Yeah,
Although
I'm
John
probably sleeping
Arnsworth
down.
might, because it's cheaper.
I live in the rectory. Or
And Atlanta lives in the armory. Where does Sam live?
I've known these people for a while, but I probably still have I'm kind of a boarder in someone's home. maybe a
kind
basement.
of front room border or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Yep. So that's how you wake up. So
Can
we'll
we all
assume you
see the
get
cat?
together the next morning. We'll assume you
Sure.
get together the next morning so that you can all be participants in the conversation.
Did I see the cat when I woke up, or
No.
okay? Okay. I had this terrible dream yesterday. Sorry, nightmare. It's we were together in the forest, and yeah, this creature snapped this guy that this Bob.
Yeah, I
this
had
voice.
the same dream, and you
Well,
were in it. I could see you in it,
seems
and
we
these
were
other two.
linked by
Oh.
some sort of creature.
Oh,
And we all
Do
heard
I
the cat,
reckon-
right?
Do I recognize that creature at all? I got no way of no. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, it seems we might be hearing the unfortunate passing of Bob the Wait soon.
these were the people that attended the lecture.
That were
Do-
affected by the inspiring speech.
But
Almost as
Why?
if the thing that was riding
You're speaking very.
Elaine marked us in some way.
I don't know.
Marked us.
But
Imagine a cat spraying its signal. We have been sprayed upon, and thus made enticing to such tentacle creature. Possibly.
How are we ever going to get out of this? How?
I don't know.
and why?
Why?
Mm.
Why does anything eat other things?
I get it, but why Bob?
I don't know. We need to find out more about the mask, where it came from.
We should do it. Are we every time we're going to sleep, we were gonna face this nightmare once more? I don't know if I can do it every
Possibly,
night.
I would go to the local Cats Protection League.
Yeah.
Because the creature certainly did not like. It might be a specific cat that it doesn't like.
Right, now hold on. So John and I heard the cat, but we
Yeah.
all felt the cat, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Or have we, John and I, just
No.
told you?
Yep. No. You all felt the cat or cats,
But we
perhaps.
didn't. But we didn't all hear the cat.
No, because you couldn't make it out against the background noise.
Okay.
But that's
There's
more
all
of a
sorts of weird noises.
literally a hearing thing, not a specific thing.
So we understand that this creature is kind of afraid of cats, but I don't know. We don't own a cat in the armory. I don't know.
Oh no,
I
you definitely
wouldn't-
have cats in the armory. That is
where-
absolutely true. There are cats in the armory.
Okay.
It's a big building. There's lots of rats. You've got cats.
And I'm saying to everybody, I'm afraid. I'm feeling like I can't go on. I need a pep talk. I need somebody to help me get out of this funk. I feel like I can't even leave this place.
Right. That sounds like a cue for some music.
Mm.
I am going to play my horn.
Are you going to recover some
And I'm
conditions
going to
there?
go for an inspiration roll.
Thank you very much.
Let me do my thing.
All right,
just
you
make
succeed.
it.
That should be enough, though. Because how many? I think only 2 people lost 1 condition, so that'll be enough to cover both.
I'm 2 down for mental.
2 down. Okay.
Do you want me to
because you
push my
pushed.
roll? I'm feeling.
Well, how many do you recover?
3 conditions,
I think
isn't
you
it?
recover 1. Wait a second. Let me just.
No, it's more than 1.
It's on
Yeah.
page
I thought
72.
It might be 2.
No, it's on page 72.
Oh, page.
Oh,
72.
each. Okay, so if the skill test succeeds, you heal a total of 3 conditions, which you distribute between them. If you have an extra success, you heal another 3.
Yeah.
So there we go. So there's
I thought
between
it
the
was
two,
so
you've
it's
got
3.
3 conditions.
Now, the other thing is that there's newspaper. So early edition newspaper reports that there was hysteria in Harlem last night as multiple individuals ran out onto the street screaming. They were rounded up by the police. They seem to be suffering some sort of shared hysteria.
So are we hearing as I pick up the newspaper from the armory floor that everyone in Harlem heard this, felt this dream, had the same dream?
Well, not everyone. There was a limited
Just
group.
everyone who was at the thing.
Well, you've got the notebook,
Village.
so you can actually check the names against the notebook.
Oh no!
Brilliant.
So everybody that we saw named in the notebook.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone,
Within the
but
dream.
the people who ran out
Are listed in the notebook.
I'm getting some
By the way, am I
feedback.
I'm getting
one who's
some
hearing-
echo.
Oh, sorry for me. Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. Yes, it's there's a common set of names. It's not everyone, but the names of the people who were rounded up or whose names are reported, because not everyone's name is reported either. But yes, it's a common list.
So did we leave first? Did we leave before everyone else? Or did we?
Not particularly.
No, not
Oh,
particularly.
okay. Okay.
I definitely didn't leave early.
After the copper left, but it sounds to me.
I guess
that those Ku Klux cops are invoking some magic spell for retribution for those named individuals that were participating.
But they don't have the names,
right?
But they don't have the names.
Well, he could remember that. He recognized them straight off. He may not have got everybody written down, but he thought some of them were traitors. I remember the note.
You think it was the Ku Klux cops then?
Look, we've got in his own handwriting a list of people, and most of the people on this list are now arrested, having run out into the street.
Are they arrested?
Rounded up, the paper says.
Okay, so this debate is going on. My question for you is, what do you want to do?
Well,
I want to go to
Daniel's right. We need to check whether they are arrested.
Find out
we need
whether
to
they're
set lights to that
arrested,
big
and
piece.
obviously visit them in prison or in the cop shop.
So you've got the people who are arrested. You do know the addresses of the Thwaites. So
I don't want to go over to see the Thwaites. I'll read about it in the papers, because that's just asking for trouble. To go calling on a Manhattan rich couple. That's just asking for trouble.
Okay, in the newspaper, is there kind of a section for those who have died? Like, do we see any report?
As in an obit?
Yeah, is there an obit for? Or is there anything on, say, the second page?
Normally, obits are published like a week after death, because people write the obit out and sort of
maybe at the funeral at that church or something? Somebody is getting buried.
It's only the morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Literally
yeah,
4
I know.
hours.
I
You don't
thought in
even
the
know he
21st
died.
century.
Yeah, it's like they'll have the reports now. No, they won't. They really
Yeah.
won't.
No,
There'll
they
be no
won't. No, they
reports on
won't.
deaths that happened last night, or unless they were on the street shot by police. But there aren't any reports of such things. Okay, so you're going to the police station. You're going to go to the police station to visit the police station to find out what happened to the people.
Yes, because that would be part of my job as the parish priest, basically.
Okay, you go to the police station. The people have not been arrested. They were literally found on the street, hysterical, and released back into their own. Once they, well, one or two of them has been sent off to sort of, get further help, but the others have all been released. A quick chat with them, though, does tell you that they all had the same dream.
Okay, I would have chatted with them.
Yeah,
Now-
that's what I figured.
There are certain homes that have telephones, correct?
There are.
And would we be? I would imagine that I would either have some contact with the Thwaites through somebody, say, two lines of separation, and so 2 degrees of separation. So I'd be trying to find their phone number to find out how Mr. Thwaite is.
Sure, you can do that. You ring, no one answers.
It's early enough in the morning that they should be home.
Absolutely.
So I convey this.
Do you want me? Are we sure that we want me to sneak in to check if they are?
It wouldn't be the first time that you've been to Manhattan. I'm just making that point.
No. But I don't think we should sneak into a rich white
man's house.
That
Well, they'll
probably
live in an
there.
apartment, so you'll have to get, in. But
no, I think that would be a mistake.
all right. Well, no one is answering the phone.
And
So we've shared our dream with everyone, and we've expressed how we saw Bob die.
Yeah.
I guess I look at John and I say, "Are you concerned?"
Yeah, I saw somebody's neck. We all saw somebody's neck getting broken by this creature. I'm afraid that we need to make sure that this is real. This is not a collective hysteria.
hold on, do I still have, or do we? I think John was there as well. The telephone company or electricity company overalls that we
Absolutely.
we swapped some clothes for.
That you've kept in a bag for just such events. Yep.
I didn't know this.
Good memory. Good memory.
Nobody questions a municipal worker when he's black in a white area.
Yeah.
So
No.
maybe John and I could go and check the house out.
All right. So we'll snapshot across to that if that's okay. So you guys put on the overalls. You, as expected, are able to get into the building because you go through the appropriate entrance. You've got the necessary, box of tools. You've been here before, Atlanta. You've had to tell this story before. What is your explicit explanation to the, so you are asked, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Well, I think the electricity company have had complaints that
leak.
Maybe there was some weird side effect of people's houses that gave everybody or gave a number of our customers bad dreams last night, and we're obviously our bosses can't deal with all of them, but the most important customers, we've been asked to go and just see whether there's anything like short circuiting and creating some sort of weird magnetic effect.
First off, wow, really? I had no idea that radiation from wires could cause that sort of injury or illness. It'll be. I might write that down somewhere so that I remember that for future.
Yeah,
reference.
be careful.
Be careful. And thus began the journey towards. Where did that rumor start? Like 1985.
Now we know.
Now we know. Now we know. Well, you should definitely be checking out the Thwaites. Like, so I don't want to speak rudely, but some of the neighbors were complaining about screams coming from their rooms last night.
Oh no.
But then they went quiet, and no one wants to get involved. Obviously,
so we're speaking to the super here. In this is an
the bellhop or whatever it is, the person at the front.
Well, no, we're not the front.
The concierge. You're talking to the concierge,
right? Okay. Well, if you think we should check their apartment, then we should check their apartment. But do you have like a master key? Or landlord's key?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Take us there, sir.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Good.
So he knocks on the door a couple of times. Hello. No one answers. He goes, they must have gone out, but I didn't see them. But anyway, he opens the door. Are you guys going to be long?
Well,
should I wait here, or will you come?
Yeah,
me? Now, I don't want to make you responsible for letting a couple of
black people in the house. So come in with us. We don't want.
No. He's like, he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But equally, he's saying, I'm keeping an eye on you, though.
That's good. Come in, and just keep an eye on us. I'm sure the Thwaites won't mind.
Okay, so you go into
because I'm wanting a witness when we discover their dead bodies.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
All right, so you come into the rooms. There's it's a big apartment. There's no particular there's no evidence of any violence. There's no evidence of anything thrown around. I assume you sort of check through the house looking for that electrical fault that you're looking for. You come to the
some light bulbs and
yep, and then screwing them back
just
in.
Knocking with my.
Oh, you're knocking on walls. Excellent. Tap. Nice, and flicking on switches and not going at any point. Wow, this is really impressive. All right, so you come to the bedroom. The door is open. Lying on the bed is Bob. Now, he has his head is lying sideways loosely,
like it's been twisted.
Like it's been snapped right off, sort of thing. It's still attached by skin, just to be clear. But yep, it's hanging loosely. Next to him is an empty nightgown.
An empty what?
Nightgown.
As it was.
As in Mrs. Thwaites' empty nightgown.
Potentially, unless he had other female company last night.
Backing out of the room.
Am I allowed?
And they slowly moved away from the nuclear device.
Am I allowed? Am I allowed to ask a question? Like, I know I'm not there, but am I allowed?
A voice reaches out from the.
Yeah, look at the pillow and see if there's an indentation.
Okay, so I'm not the best at this sort of investigation shit, but I will. Look around for clues. This is where the doc would be really good, but let me roll.
Okay. New.
Obviously,
can I
I'm
get
concerned that I am now a black man in a dead white man's
and
apartment.
by the way, can I get fear checks from both of you, please?
Of course you can.
I think there's legitimacy to a fear check at this point.
For very many fears.
For very many fears. That's a
Oh.
no from Anston.
Yeah.
Come on.
And
Ooh.
One success. Yeah, I'm rolling hot today.
You are rolling hot. All right, Atlanta, you've acquired a fear. Because you are looking at the body of a dead person who's in the dream last night you saw killed in this manner.
Oh, absolutely. But also, more importantly, I'm a black guy who's discovered that body.
Yes, you
Both
are.
those
And
fears,
luckily,
okay.
you're right next to the concierge when you do it. Oh my God! You need to get out of here now, he says sort of loudly. I need to make a phone call.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We get out of here.
Yep.
All right.
Come on, John. Let us not hesitate. I am
Yes.
down those stairs, trying.
And so let's say you kind of
but looking as guilty as shit.
All right. So do you guys just bolt out of the building? Do you just disappear?
Is he out of the room or?
No,
he
he's
left us
going
in
into the
or-
room and then he's rapidly running to pick up the phone and ring the police.
Can I see before we leave the room? Can I see something unusual in the room? Some sort of weird artifacts or weird things,
No.
or maybe traces, or no traces for the wife, maybe.
There is no sign of Catherine anywhere. You can't see her at all.
I'm out of there, by the way. I'm not waiting for John. I told him to come with me, but I'm getting out.
Right. Because you're not sure if your electricity company uniform will stand up to any degree of scrutiny.
No, absolutely. I'm not wanting to be quizzed by the cops here.
Is that a good point to?
It is. It is the perfect point to stop. I have to go and pack and go to Sydney. So perfect. All right. I am back. I'm away next week in Melbourne, and then I'm back the week following. So that is the week from the 2nd to the 5th, and then I'm back at work on the 8th. Are you guys? We can
Yes.
sort of sort it out via Discord, but does that kind of vaguely work for you guys?
Yep,
Yes.
should be fine.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
When
The
sorry, the 8th?
2 weeks from now.
Well,
would
sort
be-
of roughly sometime between the 2nd and the 8th, and it would be the 7th
Sure.
for you.
Okay.
7th could work.
So sometime between the 2nd and the 7th, like one day in that grand space of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Cool.
Yeah, should be fine.
All right. I will end the stream. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you,
listening.
everyone.
Thank you, James.